Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the general meeting of the Toyota Land Cruiser Club. I am Bob Fife, TLCC President. On my left is Norma Ferguson, to whom goes many thanks for filling in at late notice for the Club Secretary, who has taken ill. And to my right, Mark Willett, Club Treasurer. On behalf of the committee, are there any new members or visitors here tonight? Oh. Excellent. If you want any help at all from anybody or ask any questions, they're all well hidden, but people in these type shirts, all of these young people out here, they all know everything that's going on. Thank you. Present as per the attendance book at the back of the hall. Apologies, Chris and Mari Taylor. While I'm at that, Chris has asked me to thank anybody and everybody who has contributed information to him while he's away. And I think everybody would agree that, well, I thought the last magazine that came out was absolutely sensational, as good as any we've had. And Chris is doing a fantastic job while travelling around, so good on him. And to those who send him material. Also apologies from David and Hailey Rowley. Colin Richards, who's had a fall and can't really drive his car at the moment. Alan Kidd, who has taken ill. Alan didn't illuminate on that, so I left it at that. And Robin Moggs, who is otherwise busy. The minutes from the previous meeting have been posted at the back of the room. I propose that the minutes for the previous general meeting held on Monday, 2nd of May 2022 be taken as read and confirmed. Do we have a mover, please? Vonnie? Oh, we've got, and Tony Scott. Okay, now supper tonight will be with Katie and Max again after they missed last month. Terrible, terrible thing to do. But they were ably filled in by John and Jenny Twine, who filled in magnificently. Jenny and John here? Oh yes, John's there, I think, by the looks of things. Okay, now we have some very important birthdays to acknowledge tonight. We have two very young looking ladies, Fran Gregg turning 80 on the 9th of June. Let us show our appreciation for Fran. And Sally Rippengale turning 80 on the 8th of June. Now, but there's more. Vonnie Bacchia will be turning 86 years young on the 17th of June. So good on you, Vonnie. I've told her I think she'll outlive the Queen. I reckon she's going to get to 100. Well, I think the Queen will too, actually. But Vonnie, you're our Queen. I would like to thank Scott Gibbons for finding a guest speaker for us tonight. And I believe that the same guest speaker, Richard Weston, may also become a member in the near future. So I think... Yeah, if we buy enough. So buy, guys. Put in the orders. Now, thanks. Oh, just another little thing, not on birthdays, but for those who don't know, Elaine Cattell is in hospital and has been for a little while. Vonnie's been over to visit her. She looked in reasonable spirits, but being in hospital for a while is not necessarily much fun, so we wish Elaine very, very well. Thanks again, we've got a lot of thank yous tonight, to Andrew Boyd and Mark Willock for helping us out on sand driving course at Stockton Beach on the weekend just past. With Mark's acceptance of our call for help only a couple of days prior to the event. So thank you, Mark and Andrew. Now, I hope I don't upset anybody with how I put this, but both were called on to perform recoveries. Andrew doing his with brute strength, because they needed to be ripped out pretty quick smart. And Mark, as is his talent, talked and advised his victim out of trouble. Both recoveries were very impressive. A reminder to anybody who has not yet booked for next Saturday's fireworks at Coolandilly, run by Andrew Boyd, that bookings will be closed sometime after tonight's meeting. I think that's probably when Andrew says they're closed. And as most members know, this is not an event to be missed. So if you haven't done it yet, please do it. Vice President's report, there will not be a report tonight because Colin was unable to be here. But Mark, Treasurer's report.
Sorry all, I'm not organised. Treasurer's report for May. So as at the end of May, we had $402,241 in the bank. In the month of May, we collected $3,500, and that reflects the fact that everyone's renewed, and I think as the colder months come along, less people join the club. And then in May we spent $14,500. The bulk of that was on the magazine that we published that month. We hired the meeting hall, we paid for our Easter celebrations, and a few other bits and bobs at the properties. So that's what we've been up to for May, and it's all sort of tracking as you'd expect this time of year. Thank you.
Now, do we have a mover for acceptance of the Treasurer's report? Oh, certainly.
I think the answer is, it's not that we raise too much money. So each year we try and spend most of the money that we get out of our memberships. So that's in running the club, running the properties and things like that. I think we're all aware that there's probably more money than we need at the moment. So it does two things. One, it insulates the club from future declining memberships because we have a very fixed overhead to run. So we have the two properties, and they need to be run regardless of the number of members coming in. So that's one thing. We also have a bit of reserve because, as you know, both properties were threatened by bushfire. So they're insured, but they're not going to, the cost of actually replacing fencing and the infrastructure on those properties, should we have a fire, would be quite strong or quite expensive. And 2-3 years ago, we had both properties under threat. So we have I guess a notional reserve for that. It's not actual reserve, but that's one of the reasons. And probably the other fact is it's very hard to spend the money on giving benefits back to the membership. So if members have got a suggestion on how we spend the money and what we spend the money on that actually gives them benefit to the membership, then I think everybody would be quite willing at a committee level to have a look at that. So it's not that we don't want to spend the money. We haven't raised our membership fees for several years. We haven't raised our joining fees for several years. The land levy has ceased 15 years ago, so we haven't raised a land levy. The challenge that we used to run for several years was very successful. That brought in a lot of extra money. But at the moment, the club probably earns $10,000, $15,000 in surplus every year, which isn't a lot of money. And that fluctuates. Last year we made quite a good money, but we had a record number of memberships. It's how you spend the money. So if you've got a good idea of what we spend the money on that actually gives a benefit to the membership, I think we're happy to have it. We're a volunteer organisation. You know, we don't have a labour cost for doing most of what we do. No, it's not I know it's not a criticism of the committee. We deliberately don't want to raise money. So Elkie's down there with her club shop and clothing. We don't make a profit on what we buy. It's sold at cost. We try and have the fireworks, the social activities. It's very hard to spend the money. Yeah, we had a land levy. We had a land levy of $50, yes. But the land levy ceased over 15 years ago. Yes. Well, we only have 2 properties, but they're in multiple blocks. We have 2 properties, and we bought the second land at Coolandilly. Yes, yes. But that's over 20 years ago. Yes. Well, our membership fees of the club, and we're getting off the track for a general meeting, but they're actually pretty much in line with most other four-wheel drive clubs that don't have 2 properties and the activities. So if you go and join the, I'm not sure what the Nissan Club is, it has land admittedly. The general clubs around the place are $100 to join, $100 a year. For $125 for the COVID reduced fee, or $150, out of which we lose our GST, isn't a lot of money compared to the cost of running a cruiser. I think we're suffering our own success. We have over 850 members. It generates more money than we need, but yeah. Yeah. I don't think that's fair, because I think, again, it's a committee decision, but I think all members should be treated equally. And I think as soon as you bring hierarchy into membership, it causes division. We have a gentleman here who's just looking to join the club, and he should have the same rights and privileges as somebody who's been in the club like myself for over 20 years. I'm looking at Rob Alexander, who's been in the club for probably 40 years. I think equality across the club, in my mind, is what makes the club successful, rather than doing hierarchy. But again, I'm only one committee member. I'm the treasurer. I just get to read out the numbers. I'm happy to have suggestions, as I know the committee is how we spend the money and what we do with it, and how we put the club into a direction. I think we just need to stay financially strong, which we are, but not. We're not a money-making scheme. I agree. We need to spend the money on the members. I'd rather spend the money on the members and run trips and social activities and club facilities for the benefit. So that's just where we're at. But I take your point. We don't need a fortune. But I think you've also got to realise that we are a big club, and a big club will need cash reserves.
Thank you, Mark. Look, I just one little thing I'd like to add, and I hear what you're saying, Steve. The club used to have $100 in the bank. Does anybody want us to be back in that position again? I think we're doing really well, you know. Anyhow, so do we have a mover for acceptance of the Treasurer's report? And yeah, no, Chris. Okay, it's easier tonight to tell Norma Allen can't hear me. We're trying to say who's seconding and doing things. Okay, education report, John Kenny.
Good evening, all. Further to the last meeting that we had, the expressions of interest for the first aid course at Willow Glen has been very successful. There's almost 40 members that have put up an expression of interest, and there'll be further information going out to them very shortly for the payment of that, and it is still scheduled for the 3rd of September this year. There are a few other courses that will be coming up that I'll be able to speak more on at the next meeting. In particular, one will be the chainsaw course, but I've got to confirm a date on that one at the present time. So at this stage, I've got nothing more that I can say than that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I'll just add one thing to that, John, if you don't mind, for the sand driving course. As alluded to earlier, we ran 2 consecutive sand driving courses with 30 minutes between course 1 and course 2 on the last weekend. Everybody had a good time and learnt how to go about navigating sand with safety and with style and grace. One incident occurred, however, where the spare wheel of a Land Cruiser decided to part way with the vehicle whilst in convoy. It was on the beach, thank heavens, and no damage was done, but I can't even imagine what might have happened if that had fallen out from under the vehicle on a freeway. At freeway speed, it might have been bouncing down and taking cars out. But it's one of those things, so you can't sort of avoid things like happenings. What is it they say? Oh, I wasn't going to say that, Norma, but Norma did. Yeah. It does happen. Okay, promotions. Andrew.
You mentioned that the only car that didn't make it to the course was the 300.
We did get there.
Thanks, Bob. I guess this weekend we have the June fireworks, and I guess we're talking about spending money. I've decided to spend some money. So just to give you an idea what it actually costs to run a social event, the fireworks now cost the club $4,500, and probably the catering is about $3,500. So as a member of the club, you pay $150 joining fee, you get a social event, it costs you nothing. So far, this event has a lot of support. So we have 198 adults booked and 116 children. There'll be a barbecue, sausages, rissoles, onions, various salads, bread rolls, desserts, slab cake, ice cream, custard, tea, coffee and hot chocolate. If you haven't booked, as Bob alluded to, the bookings close off at about 10 o'clock tonight. The reason being that we basically have to order the food which I'll pick up for that event. I've had a good response from volunteers this year, which is really great. So a few of them are here tonight. And just a thank you to Brian and the team that were down there on the weekend, who have built the bonfire, cordoned off the areas and so forth. But if you haven't booked and you want to go, come and see me tonight. I'll add you onto the spreadsheet because it is an event for members and guests and cost you basically nothing. So what will happen is we'll have dinner at the main shed at around 5-ish. Then we'll move down to K1. We'll do a 15-minute fireworks display, have a break, we'll serve dessert down on K1, and then basically do round 2, and then basically clean up and pack up. So, yep. Just on general meetings, as a couple of months ago we had DP Chip come to the meeting. They have called me, David from GP Chips called me on various products they have, which I'll share on the club Facebook page and print in the magazine probably, is if you put the code TLCC10 into the basic checkout, the promo code, we get a 10% discount off DP Chip, DP Chip X, tuning, plug-and-go controllers, catch can kits and pre-filter kits. So it's something they've also done to support the club. August, guest speaker is Club 4x4. Club 4x4 has a new product similar to, I think, Caravan Association had if you insured your caravan, you could basically insure your four-wheel drive or your daily driver. So Club 4x4, if you own a four-wheel drive now, they will basically insure your daily driver, which is your Corolla, your Mini or whatever. So they are also, for anyone who does a quote with them prior to the August meeting, which I'll also share, they've offered 5 substantial prize packs, which they will basically raffle on the night to members who have got a quote. So, but I'll also share that. Sydney 4x4 Adventure Show is just around the corner. So looking for a few volunteers to assist at that show. So it's Friday the 9th, 10th and the 11th of September. Eastern Creek's changed a little bit now. It doesn't actually have a four-wheel drive test track. They've turned that into a car park. But the club will have a stand with a couple of 300 series or a 300 series and obviously a Prada or something lent to us by Toyota. But I'm looking for some people who would do like either half-day stints or whatever. And obviously you could spend half a day helping the club out and then half a day, I guess, emptying your bank balance. TLCC News, May-June edition, everyone should have got both, either in its electronic form or the hard copy. So Chris is putting together the July-August edition. We're basically also a little bit short of content. So if you've been on a trip, you've got a report of something out of the ordinary which is four-wheel drive related, Chris would be more than happy to receive some content. I've had a few interesting conversations with a prospective advertiser, so I'm also looking for prospective advertisers if anyone knows of anybody who's keen to support the club. And I've also have a couple of boxes of TLCC News, which if you're at your local mechanic, your doctor's surgery or whatever, the club has quite a backlog of magazines. I have in the order of around now at about 60 boxes in storage as a result of COVID. If you want a box, I've got 3 boxes here tonight. If you want to take half a dozen, come and see me at the back of the meeting. And that's about it from me, Bob. Thanks.
Thank you, Andrew. It's now time for the Social Director's report. However, we don't have a Social Director. But Sue, a little bird, whispered to me that there was something that you wanted to do tonight. You'd like to take this opportunity to do that?
There is a little report on social that TLCC has booked a room for the end-of-year Christmas dinner, first Saturday in November at, guess where? The Revesby Workers Club again. Further information will come to light when they've decided their menus and pricing structure and things. And the Treasurer's paid the deposit. So there goes $200 of all that money sitting in the bank. I spoke with Cole Richards a while back about an organisation that Ken and I have supported over the years called the Australian Wildlife Conservancy. We're very interested in this organisation, and I just thought I'd talk to you about it a little bit. It started about 30 years ago when a wealthy Western Australian businessman purchased a property in Western Australia. And the purpose was to try and reverse wildlife extinction in Australia. In 30 years, they're now the largest private owner and manager of land for conservation and are managing nearly 30 million hectares. 13 million hectares across many sanctuaries across Australia. Some of them are privately owned by the Australian Wildlife Conservancy, but more and more of them are now being managed in conjunction with Aboriginal land ownership groups, private property owners who have segments of land that might be suitable for wildlife rehabilitation. And they're also doing joint projects with state national parks. In New South Wales, they've got a big project in the Pilliga. They're doing one at North Head, of all places, which surprised me when I looked at that. And they've got one at Mallee Cliffs in the southwest area of New South Wales, and they have one they own called Scotia in the same area. The aim is to make the land habitable for little creatures and Australian wildlife. So they try and restore the landscape to what it was originally so that it can support all the little animals that they used to have. Now, one of the biggest threats apart from habitat destruction in Australia has been feral predators, and foxes and cats are huge killers of Australian wildlife. Now, most of these little animals have little defence, especially against cats. So one of their big projects is they build compounds for these animals. They build huge compounds of thousands of hectares. They have a fence around it that's cat and fox proof, and they kill all the feral animals that are inside, and then they'll import bilbies and bettongs and little animals like that. These animals do a lot for the environment. They dig holes, they aerate the soil, they eat little grubs and bugs that are pests for trees. So they're very useful for the Australian environment. Of more interest to members, I thought I'd speak briefly about some of the properties that you can visit. Not all properties are open for visiting. In the Northern Territory, they have Newhaven, which is about 90 kilometres west of the Tanami Road in the Northern Territory area. This is about a 200,000 hectare property. It's a cattle station that was no longer viable as a cattle station, but it had many pockets of vegetation and suitable habitat. This is one area they've built a huge feral-free compound, and they're successfully reintroducing small animals. Ken and I visited there in 2017. They've got a nice campground, there's some showers and toilets, but you do have to be self-contained and take your own rubbish away with you. While you're there, they have self-drive guided tours. They'll give you a little booklet with a map, and the map will have all the points of interest and the habitat and the landscape features. There's about 4 of these tours. I think they take about half a day each. They have areas for bird watching and a few walking trails as well. So you could happily spend 2 or 3 days there. The Bowra in Queensland is near Cunnamulla in the far southwest. It's a bird watching. It's a bird watching sanctuary. It's very popular with bird watchers. Lots of birds there. You can again drive around the property as long as it's dry. If it's been raining, you got to walk. So you can have a long walk. Ken will tell you how far it is. But you can get to see lots of birds. Again, it's very popular. They limit the numbers, so you need to book ahead, but you can usually get a spot if you're a bit flexible on when you want to go. I guess the Steining Shire that we've been to is Mornington in the Kimberley. Again, it's off the Gibb River Road, about 80 or 90 kilometres, I think. It's absolutely beautiful. Beautiful camping area, hugely varying environment within a fairly small area. It's on the Fitzroy, upper reaches of the Fitzroy River. You can go canoeing along the canyon and see all these beautiful cliffs. You can see great goannas, again, great bird watching area. Mornington also offer a number of tours that you can pay extra for. Mornington is really popular and you have to book about a year ahead now. So you can't just decide to drop in. I can see Phil Mead shaking his head. When they went some years ago, I think you could just drop in as you drove around the Kimberley, not anymore. Okay, what can you do to help AWC? Well, give them money. All their programs are science-based. They employ a lot of scientists. 80% of their money goes directly into field research and operational expenditure out on the reserves. So 15 to 20% goes on administration and fundraising, which is a pretty small amount for an organisation that's spending millions of dollars every year. If you go to their website, they'll have a whole list of projects. You can donate to specific projects. You could buy a camera to put on a little animal. You could buy a drone that they use to film animals and track them down. Or you can give much smaller amounts. You can give to donate to a fence. You can give to the Feral Cat Research Project. They've got a big research project in conjunction with the CSIRO that they're trying to work out how you can eliminate feral cats. Anyway, if you would like to make a donation to wildlife conservation, Ken and I would certainly commend the Australian Wildlife Conservancy to you. Thank you. Okay, I'll make an article out of this and get some pretty photos and list the properties. But the website for Australian Wildlife Conservancy has all that, which properties are open for camping and for visits.
Mornington's actually closed till further notice as well.
Sorry, what was that?
Mornington's actually closed till further notice.
Okay, well, I didn't know it was closed this year, so there we go.
Thank you, Sue. Land Manager's report. Brian.
Sound, were you testing 1, 2, 3? Evening, everyone. I'd like to start by report by thanking Gordon White, David Rowley and John Kenny, who looked after the properties again for me while I was away enjoying some travel, somehow avoiding all the weather events, which we were lucky to do. So thank you, gentlemen. While thanking, I'd actually like to thank all volunteers. We've started regular working bees down at Willow Glen, which are becoming well attended as people find out about them. We have our regularly monthly one down at Coolandilly. We get a good turnout at both working bees, and the people that turn up, guys and girls, put in a huge effort to achieve a whole lot, which I greatly appreciate, and I'm thankful to enjoy their support. So I just wanted to acknowledge them tonight. There's many here, and there's many that aren't, but they all know who they are, and I appreciate their efforts. Moving on, we've had a working bee down at Willow Glen last month. We carried out some repair works to the driver-trainer tracks, more tree clearing, and I'm sure there'll be more next time we go down as well, so if you like playing chainsaws, there's plenty of work for that. We did some trimming back along a number of the tracks where the bushes were encroaching a little bit, so that just limits the pinstriping, and we had a band of merry people removing leaf litter around the amenities block and as far as people could reach, they spent a whole stack of time scrubbing all the mould and mildew off all the handrails and everywhere, so that looks white where you can see it, and you can see exactly where they've been, but we'll work further on that as time permits. Last weekend down at Willow Glen, as Andy mentioned, we've prepped everything ready for the fireworks this weekend, so that's all systems go. We did some track building, so on the entrance down there now, instead of driving around on the grass, we've put some fill in there at the bottom of the hill, so if you could drive on the track proper. The hut refurbishment's continuing. That's nearing completion. There's just a few licks of paint to go on it now, and that looks like brand new. So if you get a chance to have a look at that while you're down there, go and see the good work that's been done. And just a word of caution for people travelling down there this weekend. The road in spots is quite rough and narrow where there's washaways from the side of the road. So if you're taking a monstrous type van down there, as I know some do, you might just use extra caution in some of those areas. And also if there's oncoming traffic, a little bit of negotiation as to where you can move to, depending where you account them, because there's not quite enough room for two big vehicles to pass, so you need to back up and try and make room. So just be careful going down there this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Robin is not here tonight for the membership report. However, she did send me an email, but I was already driving here, so it's on my phone, but it's not very long. There were 3 new memberships since the last meeting. That's the first time we've dropped down that low for a while. We now have 836 financial memberships, including 23 life. The vehicles of those 3 that joined are a Pajero, a 150 series Prado, and a 100 series Land Cruiser. So we still have some capacity in September, so for some time now we've been booked out for 4-5 months in advance, so at least that's coming back to normal. So thank you, Robin, for that report. Four-wheel drive activities, Anne.
It's about the right height. Norma, I've emailed a copy of my report to Alan. We've had 3 trips. Oh, actually, we had no trips run last month, so that didn't help us. But we've got 3 desert runs in July, one running the Burke and Wills run, and 2 along the Simpson areas. One of those has still got some space available. After that, there's September, we've got a Canning Stock Route trip and an Ann Bedell Highway trip. I can't remember whether they've got space or not. I think they both do. I've been not able to use the computer much this week. So other than that, we could do with some trips, I guess, because they're all long ones. And we do have a quick-ish trip report on the Sunny Corner trip that was run recently, which was rolled now.
happens in 100 series? Just easy. Get it almost as easy as 300. Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. One of our driver trainers, Jim Gately, leading a trip, and Craig Bellamy looking suitably serious about the whole thing. Oh. Ah, well, we all make mistakes there. Okay, gentlemen's members, and I think I see Elkie lining up there.
Okay. Thank you, Ian. Right. Good evening, everybody. So I'll deal with the leftover bits first. As most of you know, we had some discontinued stock, so I've still got 2 of the jackets, like this, left. In one size, one is small and one in 2XL. They're going for $25. I'm not used to having an assistant. I don't like it. And I still have 4 of the chambrays left. XL, 3XL, 4XL and 5XL. And of course, what'll hold a lot will hold a little. Now, for something new, because we've had a discontinuation of the some of the winter clothing, decided to have a look at outside the square a little bit, and we're thinking about offering this to the club as a standard line. Now, the trusty assistant, hang on. The jacket is waterproof to 600 millimetres. Now, I'm still trying to find out exactly what that means, but it's said to be waterproof. If I can undo the zip, it will be there. Right, so just before I pop it on, we have an inside pocket here. We have an inside pocket there for a phone, and then there's another pocket there. So 3 inside pockets. This is an XL.
Means I'm fat.
Right, so while he puts that on, clearly you saw that the inside's quilted with polyfill, and it's got that double fold over waterproof for the zip, front zip. Sealed seams. Excellent model. Yeah. No, he's not for sale. The hood is removable. You can zip that off, and it has a neck protector at the back. There are 3 external pockets, a zip pocket here, and 2 zip pockets on each side. It's classic fit. One of the best things is its size range. It goes from 3 extra small to for those ladies who are somewhat petite, Sally, all the way up to 5XL, and there's no missed sizes. It comes in 5 colours. This is the navy, but because we're going to offer it on a purchase to order basis, then that you can have the choice of the colours. So you can have army, which of course is a khaki, a black, charcoal, navy, which this one is, and there's a royal, which is sort of like a Inez's top colour, that sort of tealy, bluey colour. So these would sell to the membership for $115 each. So we're looking at this as a sample at the moment. Could I have a show of hands, please, as those people who think they might like to buy one? There's one here. 3, 4, 5. Okay, good, thank you. All right, so I will go ahead now and do an article for the magazine and see what the membership, or the wider membership, think, and then we can have them ready next month to take orders. Thank you.
It's very light too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Gary, my model will move among you. So
it's
you can touch
warm
the
and
field.
it's very light for the size of it. So it's quite a good job. Yeah, there you go. So yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, and it sort of goes all up here, and there's. Well, there you go.
So, yeah, it's very wet and wet-proof. So, thank you.
You can move among them, they can touch and see and feel.
That costs extra.
Thank you, Elkie. And Gary, what a model. Wow. Now, any business from committee, general business? Mark? Andrew? Oh, yeah, please go and see Andrew after the meeting and take some magazines off him. He would love that. And he'll give you an extra half a sausage on the weekend. Yes?
Hello, there we go. There's an article in there about, thank you. There's an article in there about the Iridium satellite system that fits to your normal phone by Ken Ryan, and I'm just wondering, does anybody have one? Because I'd like to get a personal review if you've already got one. So if you haven't, doesn't matter, I'll just try and get in touch with Ken Ryan. I believe he's travelling around. And just one other thing, a million years ago when I first joined the committee, I might throw in that my first year on committee we were actually in the red. We had to go and do when Alex King was president, and we had to go out and do a membership drive. So that was where we say we were actually in the red. But I also throw in too, with having the reserves in the funds there, I was down helping Colin at River Island during the fires, and every day I went down to the land, Coolandelly, to check on it. And the fires were literally 150 metres from the shed just across the river. So we really did dodge a bullet down there, and we would have lost the shed, except the fire brigade were right there and came right down Horse Creek as well, plus on the other side of the river. So we could have possibly lost the shed. And that's where it's nice to know that you've got those reserves, especially when I go back to the stage where we were actually in the red. So it's nice to know that we've got reserves for when there are fires and things like that with the shed. So.
Thank you, Chris. Sorry I missed you on the general business for members. I wasn't looking over there. So Andrew's magazines. Brian, general business? Brian's not anywhere. Okay. Ian? John? Okay, we'll go on to guest speaker, introducing Richard Weston from creator, or who is the creator of Panoz, who had that lovely vehicle out the front there. So would you like to... Oh, okay. John, a video?
G'day, I'm Scott Gibbons. This is going to be an exciting moment for you and for me. We're about to meet Richard Weston. Richard is the inventor of the Panoz, which is a new storage system for four-wheel drives and overlanding vehicles, especially for the Troopy at the moment.
Yes,
so
Scott.
Tell us about how it came about, Richard.
Yeah, okay, so the Troopy, it has a wider track than usual, and by legal requirements you've got to cover your wheels with wheel arches or flares. I wasn't happy. That's just a single-use product, isn't it? All it does is cover your wheels. They're vulnerable, they're expensive, and they don't do anything else. No. I gave it some thought, and I was trialling different ideas, and it's like a panniers, like saddle racks, yeah?
Like saddlebags for your horse.
So I thought, why can't we put something that we can use for storage on the side? Played around with a few ideas. It was going to be made out of aluminium at first, but that didn't work out. And came across a plastic manufacturing company that said, yeah, we can work with you. This seems like a good idea.
But this is not just normal plastic, this is...
No, this is an ABS plastic. It's super strong. This particular one is 100% recyclable.
Oh, good.
That's good. Made of 50% recycled ABS plastic.
Already?
Yes, and it's UV stable.
UV stable. So 100% recyclable, yes. UV stable. So what can we do if I want to colour match it to my car?
Yeah, black is a cost-effective colour to make the product strong and UV stable. But it can be painted in any automotive quality paint that's suitable for the ABS plastic. You can match your colour of your car.
So I can match my car any colour as long as it's ABS suitable paint?
Correct.
That's fabulous. So Richard, what are some of the benefits of the Panoz system?
Okay, the obvious one is the amount of storage. But it lowers your centre of gravity, it protects your vehicle from scrubs and branches when you're off-road.
Yeah.
It insulates your vehicle, so it has actually acoustic benefits and temperature extremes. It will protect your vehicle.
Yeah, and you've got the ease of access, so if somebody wants their first aid kit out easily and quickly, or their recovery kit easily and quickly without having to climb up top.
Yep, they're only like 10 kilos each, so not very heavy at all.
Oh, that's good.
And they're cost effective.
Yeah. So those things that you can put in there, what sort of things can you put in there?
It's mainly for bulky storage, so things that aren't heavy, like it's things like shoes, your snorkels, recovery gear, snatch straps, things that you want to access quickly, first aid kit, fire blanket.
All those things that you normally have to climb up top, rummage through, climb down.
Yep.
Now you can just open up the door.
That's it.
And everything's easily accessible.
And you can even fit your fishing rods in there.
Oh, fabulous. The people that are going to buy this, they've got troopies at the moment, but my understanding is, and we're just releasing the product now, but you've already had inquiries from people and sales already, and now there's people who are nibbling from international markets. So the troopie goes to, where's it go, New Zealand?
South Africa. I think it'll be a really big market.
Yeah, Middle East.
Middle East, yes. United Nations, emergency services, the mines.
Fabulous. So if we're going overseas, what you're looking for now is people who are into the four-wheel drive or overlanding marketplace, who are already into installing and fitting the four-wheel drive market, the overlanding market. They're not difficult to fit, are they?
No, I fitted them myself, but you need a little bit of handyman attributes.
So what we can do there is, if people who are overseas now, if they're looking at getting a new profit centre, a new line for their industry, they can now call you or contact you at panoz.net.
Yes.
And from there, maybe build a relationship where they've got a new product and it's an Australian product and you're going to export it to the world. And it's your own invention. It's so exciting to see something new on the four-wheel drive market.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything like it on the market.
So at the moment, this is troopie specific, but there are plans to expand again?
I've got designs for the lovable Suzuki Jimny.
That's the new model?
Yes.
The new model Jimny, yeah.
And I know that's going to be a hit, and for Jeep Wranglers as well.
Wow.
So both those vehicles have the flared guard, which is useless. You'll be able to remove that guard and replace it with a Panoz.
That's outstanding. Now, the Jeep Wrangler, when we're talking about the Middle East and Australia and New Zealand for the troopie, the Jeep Wrangler is a worldwide vehicle. That's now the US market that we're talking about, the Mexican market, the Canadian market, all of those, apart from the Australian market, of course. And then the Jimny, that goes to so many other countries as well. So this is a big opportunity.
Japan.
Japan. If you're in the overlanding fitting of accessories, then you've got to contact panoz.net so that you have the opportunity to climb onto the growth of Panoz, and it's going to be, I reckon, the four-wheel drive marketplace winner of the year for new product.
You really think so?
I reckon. That's my guess. See if I'm right. That's my guess. So how do people contact you?
I'm contactable on panoz.net. That's P-A-N-O-Z.
panoz.net, and there's a +61 number because if they're ringing you from overseas so that they can become part of the Panoz growth. What's the best number?
It's +61 408 347 448.
And then you can get this fantastic product for yourselves and for your customers. G'day, I'm Scott Gibbons. Have a look at this. This is so exciting. It's a brand new product for the four-wheel drive industry. It's called Panoz, P-A-N-O-Z. What is it? It's storage for your four-wheel drive Troopy. It is a Troopy-specific product. And look how much we can fit into the Panoz. It holds up to 130 litres of additional storage. And it's designed for all your lightweight recovery gear, like your snatch straps and synthetic ropes, as well as fishing rods, snorkeling gear, hiking equipment, even your climbing gear. And it all fits in so nicely. So to get your Panoz storage system for your Troopy, go to panoz.net or give us a call on 0408 347 448.
Yeah? Oh, okay. Hey, thank you very much. Thanks, Scotty, for the invitation. Happy to be here. I've got a little slideshow that'll help me tell a story, how it began, the way I came up with the idea. I grew up in Moorebank, and I think I was 8 years old, and I saw my first Unimog. And I went, wow, that's so cool. And the ARB factory just started up in Moorebank as well. And I used to ride my bike down there and watch them fit the rear tow bars and things to Range Rovers and things. Okay, this is my original first troop carrier. And I damaged the, I damaged the rear mud flap. And I had to replace it, or I felt I needed to replace it. And it was many, many hundreds of dollars. And I thought, oh, what else can I do? Can I fit something else around? I was just toying with different ideas. The four little knobs at the top, you can see I made a way to attach your max tracks to the side of the car. This was just before Quick Pitch invented their drop-down table. Next slide, thank you. Still thinking of different ideas. That's the match tracks connected to the side of the vehicle. A very light and effective way to install them, and still trying to come up with an idea with a flare. Next slide, please. So, COVID tax came. It was time for me to think about selling the old Land Cruiser troop carrier and invest in another new troop carrier. And when I saw that they can come out with the portal axles after being in love with the Unimogs, I said, that's just got to have that. The portal axles, for those that aren't familiar, do anyone have no idea what portal axles are? No idea? Or you all know what they are? No idea? Okay. It's a drop-down gear system. So the diff and the axle goes across as normal, but then you have a set of gears below which drop the wheels, the wheel hub. So it raises your diff 4 inches, 100 millimetres, and it doesn't affect the suspension, drivetrain, anything else. So I've actually still got factory suspension on the troop carrier I've got now, but I can drive over a milk crate. Pretty cool. Now, I had to get flares, and I told the guy, I've got my ideas, I need to invent something. Can you just put a piece of plastic on there for now? He was a bit reluctant, but that was the original flared guard that I had that was temporary. Good for putting a can of beverages on there, but that's about it. Next slide, please. I play around on a 3D app called SketchUp, and I was trying to do a design that I could show someone that could help make it. And I originally was thinking to make it out of aluminium. So that was a bit of the concept, just so I could get some quotes and play around with it. I got a few quotes from aluminium. It's about $5,500 each. Very heavy. Didn't suit the brief. Next slide, please. I think that's just another image. different side. Next slide. Oh, okay. I also considered making them out of fiberglass. Again, a few quotes, just not in the ballpark, couldn't do it. Playing on YouTube and Google as you do, I came across this image. This is a Silverado, only available in the States, and it had these plastic tub liners that go over your wheel arches. And I went, that's it. But I went, I want them on the outside, but that's what I want. How good would that be? I tried really hard to import a set of these. They're $1,700 US in the States, cheap as chips relatively. And I thought, oh, even if they don't fit properly, I'll just shove them on somehow and make them work. Contacted Silverado and dealers. No, not bringing them in, don't want to bring them in. It was all too hard. Tried a few mates to import, all too hard. So I kind of gave up. But that's, when I saw that image, that's when my brain clicked and went, that's what I've got to do. Next image, please. Plastic manufacturing companies, I called a few of them. Some, the concept was just too big for them. I found a plastic company that makes bumper bars for buses and dashboards for buses, and I thought, well, if they can do buses, they can do something like this. Gave them a design, and this is one of the original digital concepts. They understood what I was thinking. They worked brilliant with me, and I'm really, really happy with the relationship that we've developed with this plastic manufacturer. I'm from the Northern Beaches, and this place is in Brookvale, so it worked really, really well. Next image, please. So we've got two sides. The drop-down table with a MaxTrax holder, beautiful kit, lovely piece of gear, well-made, solid, well-engineered. I said, that's a no-brainer, you've got to have one of those. It made it a little bit tricky to do a different type of pannier or Panoz on the other side, but I really wanted to work around the MaxTrax table, and again, we managed to do it, and that's one of the original concepts. Next image. Part of the testing process. So we got a 3D model of the car, but it wasn't very accurate. So we had to make some foam moulds to make sure that they were fitting the body within 1 millimetre tolerance. And that was just one of the ways that we also made sure that when you drop the MaxTrax table, that it doesn't interfere with the flared guard now pannier. Thank you, next slide. So fitting the panniers, they have an aluminium L-track. Now these are just simply Sikaflex. There's a very high grade, engineered grade silicon, actually no, not silicon, polyurethane glue adhesive, and the aluminium L-tracks are glued to the troopy, so there's no, I haven't drilled any holes in the troopy to install these. And there's purposely approximately 2 millimetre gap between the aluminium and the body. So should you want to remove it, you just grab like a fishing line or like a synthetic fishing line, and you can sort of cut the silicon out and clean it up. It'll be a bit of a task, but some people are just very nervous about drilling holes in your car, so you don't have to. And the blue tape is just part of the installation process. I probably won't bore you with it, but it's not difficult to install. Next slide. So doing it by myself was a bit challenging, and I simply used some heavy magnets. My industry background is aquariums. I clean fish tanks for a living and install them. So far from the forward drive scene, but I've been a mad forward driver all my life. In fact, Chris, I vaguely recognise you probably 1.5 decades ago in the trials and things like that. Good to see you. So yeah, just with magnets, that enables me to glue and secure the pannier to the side of the vehicle by myself, and it wasn't an issue. You can see we've got allocations for the fuel tank, and further to the right I've got a water tank, so we can just make a hole in them, put a bit of closed cell, sticky self-adhesive foam around the outside. The pannier will push against the body and it will be relatively well sealed. Top left of the fuel tank filler seems to be a bit of a trend now. People are putting air hose and water hose and cable connectors where the vent is. So again, you can just cut out where the vent is and you can still access all your auxiliaries. The ones I have on the Troopy at the moment are a prototype, and we're going to increase the thickness. The doors are 4.5 mils, the outer skin, and we're going to go to 6 mil to give it a bit more rigidity and make a few more cosmetic improvements. We've got 2 latches on this one. We need a third one in the middle, and that actually is pretty good because you can just lock the third latch in the middle if you're worried about your fuel tank getting accessed. And I've removed my fuel cap filler just because you don't really need it anymore. The filler door. Next slide, please. So the moulds are made out of MDF. They call it a tool. And when I started this process, you get a quote and they say it's going to be this much and go, yeah, I can handle that. And then it gets a little bit more and then they go, oh, no, we've got to do this and it's a little bit more. And it just keeps going up and up and up and I'm getting a little bit anxious. The mould, it's the cheapest way to make this mould is out of MDF. And the process is called vacuum forming. So they heat the sheet of plastic and there's hundreds of holes everywhere in that mould. You can't see them, but there's hundreds of holes. And they put it in a vacuum, the hot plastic goes on top, then they start to create the vacuum and the plastic goes over the mould. And because there's a lot of heat and pressure, the MDF starts to degrade. So the complicated thing in the process of doing this business model was how many do I make? How many am I going to sell? Is anyone going to want them besides me? And to make the mould out of aluminium or something more durable blew my budget. There's just no way I could do it. So these moulds, I've only guaranteed that I can make 25 units, pairs, out of this mould before it starts to degrade. I might get 30, don't know, I might get 35. So it's a small, very small production run. And then we just see what happens. And I just hope I get my money back at least. Yeah, next slide. So this is another troop carrier with portal axles. And an example of the flared guards that you get on these are $2,600 a pair. A set of roof racks for Rhino with a Pioneer platform is $2,000. My panniers will be under $5,000, so for an extra $400, you get flares with hundreds of litres of storage. Those particular flares, I look at them and I go, I'm going to break them real quick. As soon as I come up against something that's just going to, they're not going to last. Now, perhaps you're saying, oh, you got the portal axles, and of course that sticks out so far and it's so big. The ingenious part of the design process when we develop these panniers is that we can concertina them in. So they're also available in 100 mil widths, which will basically fit on any troop carrier that's got your standard, that needs standard flares. You just go out a little bit wider And anything under 100 mil is going to be a bit useless. 4 inches in the States is a very standard measurements for chairs, camping equipment. A lot of things they just like to fit under 4 inches, which is pretty much the size of a fist. So going less than 4 inches will compromise the practicality of the Panoz, but the versatility is still there. I think that's it. Do we have one more shot? I think that's just the flyer. Yeah. Okay. So we got a passenger side and a driver's side. If I get enough interest and you don't want the drop-down table, I will consider doing another mould and doing a mirror reverse version of the driver's side. So without the cutout for the MaxTrax table holder, because not everybody may need or want that, and it won't be a big investment for me just to do a mirror reverse mould. But they will be sold in pairs. If down the track someone damages or writes off, or you get T-boned and you need one side, I hope that maybe someone had the same accident on the other side and I'll have a spare and we can sort each other out, but at the moment they're just in pairs. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Any questions? I'll be happy to get some input. Feel free to ask anything. Reasonably, but not 100%. The first, my prototype, I got a reasonable amount of dust in, I will admit. We'll improve that. Under super extreme conditions, I wouldn't put your best camera inside there. But again, if you're worried about certain things, you put them in the bag and then you put the bag in there. But under normal conditions, it will be fine. Yeah. So I might have what's the price of it? Just under 5,000 a pair. Yeah, it's a real numbers game. It changed. Oh, sorry, yes, sir.
What testing have you done on various tracks with them?
So we've just done a 5,000 kilometre trip with Variety to Kangaroo Island. A lot of that was on severe corrugations. That's basically the test I've done. I've thrown things at it. I've tried to scratch it with the back of a Stanley knife, not the blade, of course. That's sort of all that I've done in terms of testing. I've put the hose on it, make sure it's all right. Yes, a little bit of water came in, but again, this is the prototype, and the next one will have a thicker joins, a stiffer door. Oh yeah, you can see on the bottom right-hand side, I'm working on a kit that you can turn that door into a table as well. So there will be like on boats, they have these cleats that you can lock a little bit of a cable in, and then that will be a table as well. I wouldn't cook on it, but if you just want to hold drinks or fix a wheel hub or something like that, keep it out of the dust or the sand, you'll be able to use it. Yes, sir. It's a commercial vehicle. There's a lot more relaxed laws in terms of a commercial vehicle, and they're basically wheel flares. You have to cover your wheels. That's the law. Just because a flare is storage, it's just a big flare. A good question.
You'd be prepared to stay along after we actually close the meeting?
Most definitely.
Any questions?
Definitely.
I just thought if anybody, Richard could be here, and if you want to think of your questions and talk to him then about it. So we don't want to hold Sally up getting on with her raffle. So would that be okay, Richard?
Yeah, I'll be happy with that.
Well,
yeah.
thank you very much for what you've given us so far, And any questions for Richard after the meeting? Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Sergeant at Arms, Sally. Oh, whoa. Katie is actually going to be getting to, that's okay.
Hello, my name's Katie Regent, and I'm a long-term member of this club. And I'd like to say that I'd like to give something to the three ladies tonight that are turning 80 and plus, because I think they deserve it. They're all long-term members as well and have been around in the club for a long time. So Fran, my dear, come up here, please. It's nothing special, sweetie, but it's beautiful. Hey, look at the camera. There you go. Here you go. Thank you for being part of our club, and with John, your husband, getting around doing lots of things. The second one I'm going to call up is little Sally, our little pocket rocket. Happy birthday to both of you, both turning 80, and I think it's fantastic that they both get around, and Sally does this, that, and this, and you want to know anything? This is the girl. So Sal, a little something for you too. As I said, it's nothing special. Oh, sorry. You hold that.
Yes, I will. It's a lovely surprise. Thank you, Katie.
And more. Okay. That belongs to this one down here. Okay, so thank you. Okay, let's have a... Okay, thank you very much. Stay here, because you have to do a job. And next one I call is Vonnie Buckier. Vonnie is a little bit more senior, 86 she's going to turn. So, I mean, look at her, isn't she beautiful? Anyway, Vonnie is also a long-term member of the club with Dushon, doing lots of things. She used to be social director, didn't you?
Yes.
Once, long time ago. So we've all done lots of things.
That's for sure.
Lots of
He
things.
was always my right hand. Katie was always my right hand. And also talking about how it was in the beginning when we joined 32 years ago, I had to sell and auction my flowers from the garden and shampoo from the factory where I worked, so I could get money to buy lucky door prizes at the time, because we didn't have any money. I had to generate money so I could buy. So that's how it was.
Okay, so your turn. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, hang on. Another one.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And another one. That's what I did for you.
Oh,
okay. Thank you. So I'd like to say too, thank you ladies, but what I'd like to say, if there's anybody new here tonight in our club, I'd like to say the only way to get friends, and really good friends, is to get involved in the club, do things, join the working bee, go on little trips, and just be around, and the more you come and get together, the better the friendship becomes.
Okay,
So,
thank you, Katie.
Okay, thank you. Do we want to...
That were presented with flowers. Now, Sally, we're not finished with you. Are you going to come up now and do the raffle?
That was a lovely surprise, Katie. Thank you so much. I might remind all the members and our visitors, that Katie did these most amazing signs. She does a lot of signs and a lot of work for the club. Katie and Max also organise our fantastic suppers. Now, running along with the June birthdays, we have Jed Carroll. Put your head up, Jed. He's under 80. Chris Taylor is also well under 80, and as we know, he's travelling around Western Australia, which is really nice. Now, on Facebook, TLCC Close Facebook, I post a lot of photos on Coolandelly Working Bee. Last weekend, it was only 2 days ago, and it's wonderful with the Wi-Fi. I posted the photos while I was down there, and I got immediate replies. And the replies was, "This looks fantastic, must get down to the Working Bee. Good on you guys, and thank you for all your work." There was one outstanding blog, and I want to share this with you. It's from Michael Quinnell. Michael Quinnell is a Coolandelly regular months ago, and he dipped out because he was looking after a family member who was seriously ill. And this is on the blog. It was a huge blog, but it's well worth sharing with you. The family member sadly died, and the unit was empty. So Michael thought, what can I do? Putin's around, Ukraine's, as we know, is a nightmare. So what does he do? He sponsors a family from Ukraine. He put the post onto the community Facebook. It took 3 days to empty that unit, paint it, store the family treasures in the garage. And you can imagine the mind-blowing networking to get a family over from Ukraine to Sydney, and it happened. A lovely mother with 3 young children, they looked like under 10. He posted the photo, said, "Here's my lovely family." So that's quite a humanitarian effort, as we can all concede to. I think he deserves a round of applause. So he said, "Here you guys having a lovely time around the campfire. That is fantastic. But hey, I'm on a Working Bee on steroids." It's just wonderful to hear a member doing such fantastic human work to bring a lovely family from Ukraine. We have 6 meat raffles, and to make this quite efficient, thanks to Cheryl and Phil Mead for coordinating this meat raffle, I'm going to ask our Queen, Vonnie, can you come up here and draw the raffles? Now what we're going to do is draw 6 raffle prizes. I'm going to request the 6 winners to just come to the side here. When Bob closes the meeting, and after you've given your name to our wonderful secretary extraordinaire, and she's also my wonderful assistant, getting the prizes for the raffle, just give her your name. Then what will happen then is you'll come round to the centre and open this magic box. Now in this box there are 6 different types of meat raffles. Cheryl has kindly provided meat covers with, you've got some ice packs in them, so you just grab an ice pack and a box, and then you can just sort out what meat you would like. So have you all got your raffle tickets out? So the first raffle ticket is black E52. Oh, Andrew, terrific. You wish. The next one is black E09. Black E09. You haven't got it, have you? Oh, they're going to get it later. You've got to wait. Yeah. Black E45. Cole Morby, terrific. Our painter extraordinaire for Coolandooley Art. Black E26. E26. John Twine. So how many have we got now? 1, 2, 4. So that's 4. Okay, just stay there, John. We need 2 more. There's 6 meat raffles. There's 2 more. 1 more, is it? 1 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow B76. Yeah. Yellow B76. Well, Katie's outside. It's not her ticket, is it? It's not yours now, is it? No. Right, redraw. Oh, John. Oh, sorry, orange. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 1 more, isn't there? Yeah, 1 more to go. And the lucky last one is orange B76. So that's 6. Have we got B76? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Has somebody got raffle ticket number B76? Right. So that's 6 already, is that right? Have you got Scott's name? No. Have you got Scott Gibbons down? No, Scott Gibbons?
Yeah, I got Scott. I have Andrew, Scott, Cole Morby, John Twine and Elkie.
1 more. The lucky last is orange B91. Oh, terrific. So that goes the end of the raffle prizes. So we'll see you next month, or when you go to supper. We have a special supper there, and we'll be singing happy birthday to the birthday ladies. Back to Bob.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, there being no further business, we'll declare the meeting closed at 9:40, 9:37. Oops, sorry, something's gone wrong. We did that before, about 20 minutes ago, but we can do it again. No, did general business.
Just a very quick update on Elaine Cattell. She was admitted to Carina Hospital last week, and she was hopeful of coming out on Saturday. She's got problems with her legs and she was having problems breathing. They've solved the breathing, the legs are still an issue. So she didn't get out on Saturday, but she's very hopeful now of getting out tomorrow. So if you'd like to give her a ring, hang on, we might have an update. When was that? When were you talking? This afternoon. Okay, we've just got an update on that. Looks like she'll be there for another 3 days in Carina Hospital. She's in room 20 of Kingsway Ward, so if you happen to be over that way, 10 to 12 in the morning is visiting hours, and also 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock in the afternoon or night. So if you can drop in and see her, I'm sure she'd love to see anybody.
Thank you, John. Well, we'll now declare the meeting closed. Thank you all very much. The next meeting will be here on 4th of July. That's not our Independence Day, that's the American Independence Day, isn't it? 4th of July. Here at the Liberty Hill Church. Thank you very much.